Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Ritu Agrawal. I'm lecturer in English at Government Women Polytechnic College, Jaipur. Today, we are going to study about Precis writing. Basically, the art of Precis writing can be subdivided into 5 points that will be covered in this particular video. The first point is summarizing or Precis writing. The second point is essentials of a good Precis. The third will be the steps which are required for a good Precis writing. In the fourth point, we will deal with the tips how to write a good Precis. And at the last, we will be having certain examples. Now, the very first question that comes to our mind is, what is basically a Precis? A Precis is a restatement in a shortened form. Or in other words, we can say a Precis is an abridged form of the text. In a Precis writing, we summarize document to extract maximum amount of information and convey it in minimum number of words. And generally, 1/3 of the number of words is used or is written in a Precis. Now, what are the essentials or characteristics of a Precis writing that we must look into before writing a Precis? The very first essential point is completeness. That a Precis must have the essential contents without omitting the important ideas. The second essential point is the compactness. There must be a sense of unity. It should give a comprehensive idea. The third important point is conciseness. As it is said that brevity is the soul of wit, so we have to use minimum words. We have to avoid repetitions, omit ornamental phrases, but not at the cost of clarity. The fourth important point is clarity. We should have clear expressions. We should avoid circumlocution and ambiguity. And the last important point is coherence. There must be a smooth flow. There must be a logical order. The entire piece should look like a well-connected piece of work. And the main idea must run throughout the Precis. Now we'll look at the different steps of Precis writing. First of all, we must identify the reader and purpose. Then we have to skim through for an overview, read the passage to get the gist of or the idea of the passage. Read again to identify main and supporting ideas. Means you should be able to distinguish or differentiate between that which is the main idea and which is the supporting idea. And maybe for that you have to read again and again. You must underline key concepts and ideas while reading. Then write down a title that sums up the entire theme. And if you are unable to find out that what should be the appropriate title, read the passage again so that you may come up with an appropriate title. Then you have to write the summary. Now connect the points and write the Precis. Now, Precis need not have the same number of paragraphs because Precis is basically 1/3 of the main paragraph. Now, count the number of words and write. At the end, you have to review it and edit also. Now, for example, we can see the two blocks. In one block, it's written original version and in the second, condensed version. In the original version, we will find that in a sentence, in the first sentence, the sentence is like the analysis was thoroughly and wholly complete. Now this sentence comprises 7 words. But in the condensed version, like if I condense this original sentence and write it like this, the analysis was complete. So the meaning is not lost. But I'm able to put that idea in merely 4 words. So this is what the brevity is. That you are not losing the original idea, but in a fewer words we are able to tell the entire meaning. We can have the second example. The rain continued without intermission throughout the night and didn't cease for a moment until after the day had dawned. Now this particular sentence has 21 words. Now how can we condense this sentence? How can we make this particular sentence concise? The rain continued till dawn. Now in this particular we are merely making use of 5 words. Now we can see 2 more examples similarly, wherein there are 34 words and we have condensed it into 9 words. And in the second one there are 31 words and we have again condensed it into 19 words. Now in the next slide also we can see the same, that how the original sentences are condensed. Now you can go through all these examples so that you can understand how we have to condense the sentences while writing a Precis. Now we'll go through the tips for condensing longer sentences. The very first tip is that we must try to replace clauses by phrases and phrases by words. The second tip is we have to make use of one word substitutions wherever we can substitute longer words or so many words with a single word. We have to see that if a particular thing is being repeated, we have to avoid all those things. We have to avoid all unnecessary repetitions. We have to combine simple sentences and make them complex or compound. Even we have to omit examples, comparisons, contrasts, minor details, digressions, or figure of speech if any it is there. Now, some more tips. We have to understand the theme of the passage first, because Precis is not merely the reproduction of important sentences. A Precis is generally written in writer's own words. So we have to understand the passage and then reproduce it in our own words. Brevity is good, but not at the cost of clarity. We have to make use of lesser words, but while making use of less words, there must not be ambiguity. Ambiguity means any sort of confusion. No confusion should arise while using lesser words. The next step is one should use one's own style. We should avoid copying from the text. The next step is that we should always write in third person and in direct speech. If there is any direct speech in the passage given, we shouldn't write it in the same. Instead, we should make use of indirect one. And we should use our discretion for statistical information. The next step is we should not introduce our own views or ideas or what we think about the passage, because it is not about our views. It is basically whatever is written in the passage, we have to just write it in our words. We don't have to criticize or change the original theme. And we have to limit our words to 1/3 and mention the number of words in our Precis at the end. And we have to give a suitable title also to the Precis. We need not divide our Precis into paragraphs unless the passage is very long. By long we mean if there are more than 1000 words in the passage, then we may write our Precis into paragraphs. Otherwise there is no need. Now let's come to a few examples. In the very first example, we see that the original passage has 151 words. It is basically about speech. The speech is a great blessing, but it can also be a great curse. For while it helps us to make our intentions and desires known to our fellows, it can also, if we use it carelessly, make our attitude completely misunderstood. A slip of the tongue, the use of an unusual word or an ambiguous word and so on, may create an enemy where we hoped to win a friend. Again, different classes of people use different vocabularies, and the ordinary speech on an educated man may strike to an uneducated listener as showing pride. Unwittingly, we may use a word which bears a different meaning to our listener from what it does to men of our own class. Thus, speech is not a gift to use lightly without thought, but one which demands careful handling. Only a fool will express himself alike to all kinds and conditions of men. Now, go through this passage again and again. Try to find out the main theme of the passage. Try to find out which are the main ideas and which are the subordinate ideas. As you can see, the total number of words in the passage are 151. Now we have to compress it to 1/3. Now let's see the theme. The theme of the passage is that speech is both a blessing and a curse. And the other points that we found were: speech is a great blessing. It can be a curse if we do not use it carefully. And words do not always convey the same meaning to all people. Now, if we put these points into a paragraph, the final Precis will be like: Speech is a valuable gift, but if we wish others to understand it, we should use it carefully. Probably, we may distort our meaning not only by careless use of words, but also by ignoring the fact that words do not always mean the same to all people. Now, we have compressed the original passage into 48 words, and this is the final Precis. Now, there is another example. Now, you can go through this passage, and this passage is of 169 words. Now, read the passage again and again. In the next slide, you will find the important points, and in the next one you will find the final Precis with the title. Now there are few exercises for the students. There are 2 exercises given, so students can go through these exercises one by one. In the second exercise, so first of all, students have to count the number of words, and then they have to read, underline, and then they have to jot down the points. They have to write the theme, the main points, and then they have to recreate them into a good Precis. Thank you.